This is one of the most wildest sabotage patterns that most people have, but they don't even know that they have it. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Let's talk about one of the most wild self-sabotage patterns that most people have, yet they don't even know that they have it. And most have been convinced by this crazy sabotage pattern that they have, that it's normal, it's okay, and I think that most people driven by it, I don't know, you can tell I'm weirded out by this, but it's something that I had to learn myself because I kept self-destructing, and I would self-destruct in my health, my finances, in my business, in my relationships, and a lot of them were tied into this idea, this sabotage pattern, which essentially is a fantasy or a delusion. So let's talk about it. Anyway, Driven Mofos, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Michael Mojo, the founder of Mojo Human Performance Institute, where we focus on mindset, lifestyle, and business hacking for driven mofos. And the reason why I do these episodes is because most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them. I do them because I want you to succeed. I want to make sure that our community is the most driven bunch of mofos on the planet, and that we're all crushing it and achieving, and we're doing great things. So that's why I do this stuff. But let's talk about a crazy sabotage pattern that most people have that they don't know that they have. And what it is it's a fantasy or a delusion of working to not have to work. So a lot of people, let's say they go to the gym, and they go to the gym and they think, well, if I work really, really hard now and I get my body in the perfect shape, then I won't have to train anymore. I won't have to exercise anymore. I can just cut right back. But the thing that gets them there, they end up getting a result. And then all of a sudden they change their strategy. And that change in strategy normally means that their results are either not as good or they just get completely destroyed. Now, a lot of people do that in business. When I hear a business owner that says something crazy like, my goal is to work really, really hard in my business so I don't really have to work anymore. Now, when you do that, there's probably about a 0.0001% chance that that's going to be the case. And you might have a fucking unicorn business. But even the people that I've been around who have $100 million plus businesses, and some of them have sold and exited their businesses and never have to work again, and they could live better than 99.999% of people on the planet, they still work. Why? Because they enjoy the work itself, which is why they're successful at business. So the process is the reward, not the outcome. Yet when someone is outcome focused, they will work really, really hard to get the outcome. And then when they get the outcome, they will stop working because they become complacent. And they suffer by doing the work and by doing the process. But then when they get the result, they will celebrate quickly because, they've suffered this whole time. So they celebrate and they, woohoo, we've achieved something. And then they go, well, now I can back off. And when they back off, their results turn to shit. I see this all the time in business. This is the reason why so many business owners get ahead financially and then fuck it all up and end up back at the start, and then they struggle again. And this is normally when I get the phone call. When their business is going well, they don't reach out. They just keep doing what they've done and they work really, really hard and they grind. And then all of a sudden when things start going well, they just take their foot off the gas, they cruise, they change their whole strategy, and then all of a sudden they just end up back at the start again. And then they're struggling financially again, but now they've got more staff, more systems. And so they end up going through these stages of like peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs, and it's very volatile. A lot of people do it with their weight as well. They'll gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. And it's because they work really, really hard to lose it, and they want to lose it in a short period of time so they don't develop the effective habits that they need in order to enjoy the process. If you're someone who really loves exercise and you love fitness, you just exercise because you love to do it. So for me, I don't train because I have to train. I train because I love to train. And so every day I just train for, normally it's a minimum of 30 minutes. I just have a rule. A minimum of 30 minutes I move for every day. Now, most days I train anywhere between an hour to 2.5 hours. So some days it'll be, an hour 15, an hour 30 in the gym by the time I warm up, do any joint specific movements that I need to. And then from there, I get into my workout. And then after the workout, I do a bit of a cool down, a bit of a stretch, and then off I go. And then in the afternoon, I might go for a walk or I might go for a jog or something like that later on. But I do these things because I love it. The same reason why when I wake up in the morning and I do business, I don't do business because I have to do business and I have to do it to get where I want to go in life. I do it because I love to do it. And it's the process of business that I love. The everyday, the challenges, the stress, the pressure, the late nights, all of those things I know make me a better person. When I sat there, last night was a perfect example. I was up at 5 a.m. yesterday morning and it was like 11:30 last night. And the night before, I had a 1 o'clock finish from a 5 a.m. start. And then I had a client come over who is an international DJ, and I was working with him for a little bit. And we just, ate some food and chilled out a bit. I had some really late nights, a couple in a row. And Last night, I was just finishing off work and it was I think it was like about 7 o'clock at night. And my brain's going, just go to bed, do it tomorrow morning. And then I'm going, shit, I got an event on the weekend. So I don't really have the time to complete it. And then my brain starts thinking, yeah, but you could probably do it next week. And I'm going, no, I've committed to getting it done. I have to get it done for the team. And this is what I need to do. So I started putting pressure on myself to get this thing done. And straight away, my brain wanted to give up. But I knew that the process that I was going through was making me a better person. And so I stayed awake and I got it finished. But I knew in that moment that I had to shift my mindset because I was using have tos. I have to get this done. And then I thought, I don't have to get this done. I'm choosing to get it done. And also, this process is making me a better person. It's tuning my brain, it's helping me to understand more about myself. And last night, I understood that I can work even when I'm tired. I don't have to feel great all the time to get the job done. And also, what it does is it shows me that I'm willing to do things that most other people aren't prepared to do, which means that I'll excel past most other people in my industry and in my field. So it helps with the mindset and the frame of competition. You know, if I'm prepared to stay awake and do shit, and I know that most of my competitors out there wouldn't have done that, they would give up. Therefore, I'm running my own race and I'm going to be the one who creates my wins and I'm also going to be the one who destroys them. The important part of, what I'm talking about here is that most people's self-sabotage patterns come because they work to not work. They achieve so that they cannot achieve. Someone says, I want financial freedom. Why? Because the thing that they think that they want is actually the thing that's destructive. So let's say you work really, really hard. You work really, really hard. You get ahead financially. You look after your cash. You save some, you invest some, and you do all this stuff. So everything builds. Then eventually they want to get to this mysterious, beautiful place where they never have to work again. Well, tell me how by not working, you build self-worth. Tell me how by not working, you create the pressure and the stress to grow mentally. Tell me how by not working, it makes you effective as a person. Tell me how not working, it pushes you to have uncomfortable conversations, which gets you better at communication. Tell me how your self-worth gets built by not doing things in life. And then also, how do you grow your bank account and your finances by not working? It's the lazy person's guide to life. That's what it is. And most people have been convinced by average people that that's the goal. So if you grew up in the lower class or the lower middle class, people around you will say things like, we work to retire. Why? Because they fucking hate the shit that they do anyway. They have poor mental and emotional patterns. Most people don't understand the laws of value exchange. And so because of that, they think that doing the opposite is better. And I've already spoke about this before, the pendulum swing. That when someone hates their job, they think that the goal, and they only work for money, right? So they hate their job and they only work for money. They think that the opposite of that is nirvana, the dreamland, right? So they go, well, what I would love is if I could just make money and never have to work again, then that's the goal. Because it gets me away from the miserable decisions that I've made in my life and the choices that I'm not making, the decisions that I'm not making to improve myself. That will help me to live this amazing life. But the truth is that that never leads to an amazing life. The greatest people, the greatest achievers on the planet have always worked. And you have a look at someone like Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, the Bill Gateses. There are plenty of people out there who don't like Bill Gates and or whatever, but those people, they still work. Donald Trump had enough money not to be president of the United States, whether you like him or not. But he did something that was extremely difficult. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to run the United States or to at least be president of the United States. It would be extremely challenging because, well, you're responsible to all the people out there, and whatever you do is going to be criticized and judged no matter what it is, and that's just political life, right? So it is extremely tough and it's extremely challenging. I assume that they have very late nights, very early mornings. They're expected to be places, they're expected to do things, they're expected to be nice to everybody. That's fucking tough. And so my point is that if you have a look at any of the greatest achievers on the planet, I mean, Michael Jordan could have retired after basketball, but instead he ended up buying more businesses. He built a golf course. He bought a basketball team. All of these things are extremely challenging things that they kept doing, but they never had to work. Why? Because they understand that the process of greatness is about the work that you put in. And a great life comes from the work that you put in. There's nothing better than working extremely hard and then having a holiday because you know that you earned it. There's nothing better than having a great meal after the hardest training session that you've had where you were about to give up 20 times and you didn't. Those there, you can't buy that feeling. You can buy a holiday and you can buy ease and you can buy simplicity and you can buy, I make enough money now where I could hop on a plane and go away for a month and I would be fine and I'd feel great. But the truth is that that feeling is never as good as it feels when you can go on a holiday after you've worked your ass off to the point of absolute fucking exhaustion. And then when you go on holiday, it's the best feeling. The same as like the rest after a long run or a hard workout is the best rest. Okay, whereas anyone can rest. Being lazy is completely different than resting. You rest because you earn the rest, versus you can be lazy because you're just lazy and anyone can do that. So you don't even have to buy that, you can just get it. My point is that as a society, we need to change our mode of thinking around what creates worth and what is important in life. Most people have a self-sabotage and a self-destructive behavior of thinking that if I work really, really hard, then I never have to work again in all different areas. And so because of that, it creates destructive cycles in their life. If you don't want to have those destructive cycles and you want to live a great life, then realize that the process is the work itself. If you want to build a business, the goal isn't to retire. The goal is to build a business to be better. And when you build one business, you want to build a second business because you know how good it was to build the first business. Just like if you love exercising, exercise is the process of bettering yourself. And so therefore, it's not about the reward at the end. On the other hand, if you have a self-sabotage and self-destructive behavior, you will exercise in order to burn enough calories because you feel guilty from the shit that you ate last night, which then you'll go to the gym, you'll over-exercise and overtrain, and then you'll overeat again because that's a reward. And so you'll keep going through this reward and punishment cycle in your life. And most people live like it. I hope that this helps, River Mofos. Please shoot me a message on any of my socials and let me know if you've gone through this stuff. But I would say that the reason why most people who work reasonably hard and don't get the result that they want is because of their destructive behaviors that they don't even realize that they have. And until you balance those things out and until you work through them, most people will never get ahead. If you think about the amount of money that most people waste in their life, most people would be financially independent if they just didn't waste all the money on bullshit. But most people don't even know that they waste money on bullshit because they perceive that it's normal because everyone else does it. But everyone else isn't also living a great life. Most people, especially in Australia, we've got 60-something% of the population is obese and overweight. So it's completely normal to trash your body by eating crappy food and not exercising enough, or over-exercising and then overeating and having all these vicious cycles. So if you want to be great, it really means questioning the way you do things and thinking completely different. If you haven't grabbed your ticket yet to Thrive Time, I highly recommend you do it if you've got any of these patterns, because it will be a game changer for you. It'll change your life. Because not only will you identify these unconscious patterns that you've got, but what it will do is it'll give you the tools to break through them so that you can keep growing and keep accelerating without accelerating and then smashing yourself into the ground, and then accelerating and smashing yourself into the ground, which is the reason why most people never really get ahead. They just stay on a vicious cycle. Anyway, Driven Mofos, I hope that helps. Keep crushing it today. If you haven't reviewed this podcast, please just in the app, just give it a star review. It should take about 3 seconds. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Really appreciate it. Keep pushing hard. Keep living with Mojo. Take care, everybody.